Tomorrow marks a very special day, and it is not just because it's February 29th. Canadian singer-songwriter Ron Sexsmith is marking a major milestone with a concert at Toronto's storied Massey Hall.
Secret heart, what are you made of? What are you so afraid of?
That's a bit of Secret Heart from Sexsmith's major label debut album back in 1995. This past January, he celebrated his 60th birthday, and tomorrow he'll look back on his career with fans at a concert he is calling Sexsmith at 60. The Canadian music icon is in the Canada Tonight spotlight. Joining me now in studio is Ron Sexsmith. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, I'm kind of amazed to be here. I don't do very much television, so thanks for having me.
Well, we're glad that you're here ahead, of course, of tomorrow, which is going to be a big night, which we're going to talk about Sexsmith at 60. But first off, let's start this conversation at the very beginning.
Okay.
What was the genesis of your love for music?
Well, you know, my dad left when I was 2, and he left his records behind, and I feel. My mom let me play them, you know, the 45s, and I think it sort of became, I just was fascinated because everyone, you know, had their own voice, and it made me wonder if I had my own voice. You know, at the time I grew up, you know, at a very melodic time in music, so all the music that I heard really made my life feel, you know, magical or something. Huh. So it was really, you know, I didn't get to know my dad when I was a kid, so I kind of got to know him through the records that he left behind, you know, so that was sort of the thing. And also back then, right, if you were playing road hockey, someone had a transistor radio on the curb.
Yeah.
So there's always music playing or in the car. And so it was just all around. And I just really, it really felt, I really connected to it. And there's never really been anything else I wanted to do, you know.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I had a friend's dad who just passed, and he really wanted the records because he said that's where memories were, and that's kind of reminded him of his dad. What did you learn about your father from his record collection?
Well, you know, I think there was, you know, a combination of my mom and my dad, you know, when they were teenagers buying. It was a lot of doo-wop and country 45s and things, and it was just, I don't know what I learned. I mean, you know, he was someone that sort of came in and out of my life. My mom, you know, remarried when I was 9, and that's sort of my dad ever since, you know. But my biological father was kind of a mysterious guy, you know. He was like a trucker, and so, yeah, I mean, you know, he was a real country music fan, which I think was the kind of the first music I was exposed to, although I didn't go in that direction, you know. But, yeah, I mean, it was just, I don't know, I thought they had pretty good taste, actually, in music. But that started me on, you know, and there was other friends on the street who had little record players in their bedrooms. We'd hang out listening to the Monkees or whoever it was. So it was just, yeah, I mean, it was just this thing. I was just obsessed from a very early age. You know?
And so at what point did it change from a joy of music to somewhere where you thought, okay, I can make a career out of this?
Well, when I got out of high school, you know, I didn't do very well in school, and I was thinking, well, what am I supposed to do now? And my brother Don had been playing this bar in my hometown called the Lions Tavern. And, you know, I was learning guitar, and he felt, well, you know, you could audition if you want, and you know, you're going to have to learn Neil Young, and he named all these songs. So I went to the library, took out records, and learned as many songs as I could, you know, and I got this job at the Lions Tavern playing 3 nights a week. And I wasn't very good or anything, but I think I had all this youthful enthusiasm. I was 17 or whatever. And I just started to, in my hometown, become a local, you know, sensation or something, you know, where I was packing them in, and the local newspaper was talking about me. And that's when I started thinking, oh, well, maybe I can do this. And I wasn't even writing yet. It was just like doing cover songs. So it started innocently enough, just from being this kind of performing monkey, you know. I would learn, people would say, hey, could you learn this song for next week? And I would. I'd go home and learn it and play it. And I did that for like 6 years. So I really feel it was kind of an education, because I learned so many songs. So that when it came time for me to write songs, you know, I had this wealth of information, you know, of, well, I can go from G to E flat, you know, because Paul Simon did it or whatever it is, you know. So it was it was just, but I never, before that, I didn't know, I liked music, but I didn't know if I could actually, you know, do it. It didn't seem realistic to make a career out of it.
All these years later, tomorrow night you will be performing on the stage at Massey Hall. What's it like to talk about those early days and then, you know, be on stage at a place that I know that you used to, you know, go to see concerts there when you were a young man. Yeah. Right? And now to be on that stage.
Well, you know, for me, it's our Royal Albert Hall. You know, it's like it has so much history, and I mean, I would go even when I couldn't afford a ticket. I'd go and listen by the stage door. You know, I was just.
You would.
Yeah, I mean, so many concerts, I'd just be outside in the cold, listening through the door. But I mean, I went to see Lightfoot every year that he played there since I moved to Toronto, and Dylan and Leonard Cohen. It just, for me, you know, when I finally got my record deal, I always thought, I never expected I could fill like a hockey arena or anything, but I thought Massey Hall, if I'm patient and I would do the work, maybe someday I'll get there. So, so I refused to open for anybody there. I sort of, you know, I finally, in 2006, I headlined Massey Hall. And so this will be my 5th time now. So.
There is something magical about that space for folks, you know, who have never been in it. I strongly encourage you take a visit to Toronto at some point in time and go see a concert there. Sexsmith at 60. Why do you think that this period in your life was a good time for a retrospective?
Well, you know, a few years back when I realized, oh my God, I'm going to be 60. You know, it's kind of.
That's not old.
Well, no, it really isn't these days when you figure, you know, the Stones are out there in their 80s.
Yeah.
But I just felt it seemed like a bit of a milestone, and also the fact that, you know, 60 has an X and Sexsmith has an X. I thought it seemed like it would be a missed opportunity not to do something, and I just didn't know what exactly I would do. I thought maybe I should put out a Spotify playlist, or, you know, I mean, I didn't really know what to do. And then I thought, well, I haven't played Massey Hall in almost 10 years. Like maybe I could do that. And it was kind of tough actually booking the gig. So I was just so relieved when last summer we finally got, and it's a weird day, you know, it's a leap year. So like
it is.
February 29th is, first I thought, are they joking? They're pulling my leg, you know, that date doesn't even exist. So anyway, I was just very happy to finally get confirmed on the 29th, and got my band with me when we haven't played since, you know, before the pandemic, you know. So it's going to be a special night. You know, my mom is coming, all that, my siblings.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And what does your family think about your career journey?
They've all been super supportive. You know, my mom, and I mean, I headlined the Royal Albert Hall 2013, and this is sort of the only rock star thing I ever did. Was I flew my parents to England.
That's pretty cool.
To the show, and they'd never been there before. So that was one of those moments I thought, you know, that has to happen, right? So so my mom's coming and my brothers and all that. So yeah, man. I mean, Massey Hall for me is, whether I ever play there again, I don't know. For me, it's like kind of the holy grail of theaters. You know, it's like the one for Canada. You know, it's like. So yeah, it's just it's a place that, you know, has a lot of meaning to me because of all the Lightfoot shows I saw. You know.
You chose to stay in Canada. You live in Stratford, Ontario now, which there's a Stratford Festival. There's so much culture in that town. But why did you choose to stay in Canada? Was there ever a draw to go international or to go to the States?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot, because I got signed in the U.S., you know, in Los Angeles to Interscope. And so there was a little bit of pressure early on from, you know, my management or whatever, like, you know, you got to go where the action is, or L.A. or New York. And there was even a time, because my best market is actually the U.K., so there was, at one point, there was some talk, well, maybe I should live in London for a while.
Right.
But, I mean, I'm kind of a homebody, you know. I mean, I love Canada. I feel... it makes sense to me, Canada. In the world that feels crazy right now, like Canada seems like a relatively sane place, you know? And so, yeah, I mean, I in Lightfoot stayed here, you know. I always respected the fact that he didn't leave, where, you know, a lot of his, you know, comrades did. You know, Leonard and Neil, they all went to California. So, but yeah, Canada's, it's the best, right?
You have 17 albums in. You're 17 albums in.
Yes.
That's pretty incredible. Do you think that your songwriting process has changed through the years?
Yeah, I mean, it took me a while, to figure out what I was good at, And
Yeah.
lyrics have always been tricky, but I know that I can do it if if I'm patient. I think, I started off trying to write very simply, like a song like Secret Heart is very simple language. And then I probably got away from that a bit and got, so I'm always trying to rein it in and get back to the simple, the sort of conversational type approach, because I feel it just has more effect. You don't want to go miles out of your way, to say something that's simple. And so it has changed. I think I think I'm a much better singer now than when I started. And I think I'm better at figuring stuff out if I get stuck on the second verse or something. In the past I might be stuck on it for 6 months or something. Now I can sort of figure out what needs to be done, and all that just comes with old age or whatever, or experience. So
well, tomorrow's going to be a big milestone in your career. But I wonder what comes next. Is there going to be a Sexsmith at 70?
No, I mean, it doesn't have a ring to that, So that's why I thought this is the only, I'm not going to be 60 again, and I really felt it had to be at Massey Hall, because to have any kind of weight to it. No, I mean, I don't see another one of these sort of things, but I mean, I'm working on new songs, and I have a musical that I've written that I'm trying to get that off the ground, but I'm not from that world, so it's like it's pushing a big boulder up a hill. But so I've got things I definitely want to do. Now since the pandemic, I've been touring again. I didn't know if I'd ever get to do that. So we did about 70 shows last year. We toured all over, UK and Ireland and Europe and America. So I'm hoping that whatever my 60s will be, just playing music, doing maybe a few other records. And I really love. I just like being home. Like Stratford is it's kind of it's kind of an oasis in a mad world.
It certainly is.
Yeah.
Ron Sexsmith, appreciate you popping by.
Thanks so much for having me.
Come back again.
Oh, I'd love to. Yeah.